Tom DuPont came back from California, and he was out there at some event, and he said, "Hey, I stopped into Starbucks on the way to the airport Saturday morning, and they're having a car show out there in the parking lot at Starbucks. It was like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and muscle cars and all kinds of just cool stuff. And apparently they do this every week. People just show up at this, and just a kind of a organic thing. They just hang out. I can't believe we're not doing something like that here." And I think this was April of 2005. Vinny Russo. Do you know Vinny?
I know Vinny well, and he's a podcast guest.
Oh, great. Vinny, we were doing events, and Vinny was running most of our events at that point. And so we all sat down and came up with this idea for this Cars and Coffee, and came up with a logo, and said, so we all started hitting the enthusiast sites like FerrariChat.com and those types of things, and Renlist, and just blasted out the idea, a small email blast and that kind of stuff. And our first Cars and Coffee, June 2005, was a huge success. We had 10 cars.
I remember.
We had 12 cars. I think we had 12 cars, and we brought 8 of them.
What year was this?
This was 2005, June of 2005. I think you were there in that one, or one of the first.
I was there early, and I'm thinking because my son, I'm trying to think, he's 18, 2005. So was he 3 or 4? Could I have brought him? I mean, he was always a car freak. He's still a car. My 18-year-old son has 2 cars. He has a driver, I don't know, 03 Ford truck.
Okay.
And he has a 71 Ford F100 slammed. The motor work. I can't park in the garage. It sits in the garage.
Cool.
So he's into it. But I believe that I was taking him there at 3 or 4. And I remember that it could be cold. I should probably find a picture of myself. But I think I went to Amelia Island car show one year, Concours. And when I got off the plane, my buddy, thank God, I was so fortunate that he took me, at my dear friend Steve Hughes, owner or founder of St. Elmo Steakhouse in Indianapolis, and ex-president of Steak and Shake, total car freak. I can't think of the name. Of course, I'll think of it when we're done, but he has the fastest single engine turbo prop out there.
Pilatus?
What is it?
Is it the Pilatus?
No.
Pilatus or Mooney?
No, a Mooney is a smaller, 1 or 2
Yes.
passenger. This was like 6 passenger.
Oh, probably a Pilatus.
Killing me. I'll think of it, of course, as soon as we're done.
Okay.
So anyway, he flew us to Amelia, and it was freaking freezing and raining, and they had boards going across puddles for people to walk. And
was that 2 years ago?
No. This was around Cars and Coffee, because I remember walking straight into the hotel. I think it was Ritz-Carlton, and going into their gift shop and buying an Amelia Island windbreaker jacket.
Mm.
Too expensive, of course, but what could I do? I mean, I could be dead in an hour. And I remember
it was probably like 60 degrees.
Well, I don't think it was that cold, but there were people frozen solid. And I always think of Florida. It's so funny when there's a hurricane warning, the store empties of beer.
Right.
When it's below 65, no one can go to work. You can't,
Yes.
You can't go to your car.
Yeah, it's unforgivable conditions.
Right. And I imagine when it's like in the 50s, that we're all like those Mount Vesuvius people that they found stuck frozen in the lava, in their position, that's how we are, at 55. But I remember I used to wear that Amelia Island windbreaker because it could be cool there on a morning. And it probably was also because I would bring some cool Spider or convertible, or I probably even brought my 31 Ford hot rod that was supposed to look like a 32 B model, black with flames with a flathead.
Oh, I've seen that. Where did I think you brought that to Cars and Coffee.
I think I did. Yeah. So that might've been why I was wearing the jacket.
Okay.
Because the windshield was this high.
Yeah.
And chopped and, whatever. And there's
Cool car.
like riding a motorcycle.
Love that car.
But Cars and Coffee really was legendary here in the area. I mean, I know there's Cars and Coffee all over the country, but it wasn't well heard of. I mean, for Tom DuPont to say, hey, there's this thing going on in LA.
Yeah. Yes, it was not. And he, at one point in one of his publisher's letters in the DuPont Registry, there was a point, I think it was 2008, beginning of 2008, when the crisis was starting to hit a little bit more and the dealership business was dropping. He wrote a letter that, look, we didn't trademark this Cars and Coffee idea. We would encourage all dealers and anybody as an enthusiast everywhere in the country to have your own Cars and Coffee. Get people out to drive in their cars, and let's show some signs of life in the car passion. That was one of those things. I think it helped a little bit, but it just, the idea of it just being a cruise in where, there's not a lot of rules. It's pretty loosey goosey, and you start it super early. That thing started at 7, ran 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we had so many people that would, oh my God, can you not make it at 7 a.m.? Could we do it like at a reasonable hour, like start it at 9 and go to 11?
Right.
We already have 150 or 200 cars that we have no room for every month. Let's not make the problem worse. And also 6 months out of the year in Florida, you don't want to be on that parking lot at 9 in the morning to 11 when the sun is right on that black tarmac. So
no doubt
it worked out just great. And, you got people coming in there with, 32 Fords or, the latest Bugatti or McLaren. And you have the kids that with their $1,500 or $2,000 car, you can tell they've been nothing but spending every penny they've got and detailing it and cleaning it. They're going to hope to park next to a Lamborghini or something,
Right.
And someday they're going to be that guy.
And, and the beautiful thing about the Cars and Coffee is there was nobody snobby. There was nobody with any attitudes. There was a lot of people letting kids sit in their car. And I mean, I think, well, I liked it, but how they sounded when they left.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That sometimes be a little over the top, but it was,
yes.
Did you ever get in trouble over that?
We had, we were starting to shoot videos of that and posting the videos on Facebook or on other social media. It started, we think, to make it too much of a opportunity to be over the top because you're, going to do something to make you famous. And we had one car that left the road and bended itself. We had a Dodge Charger that was a really nice restored 440 Charger that when he left and he jumped on it, got a little sideways, he overcorrected and nosed it into the ditch and it bent it at the fire. Fortunately, there was no people standing right there, but there was people close enough. And, we watched some of those videos and said, there's some cars leaving here that are just not really seeming like they're in control. We need to have a Pinellas County sheriff stationed, just have their presence there. And that calmed the whole thing down. It made it, you could still rev your engine. You could still do some stuff like that, still make some sound, but not do stuff that could hurt somebody. So that became also a fixture of it. The Pinellas County Sheriff's off-duty people there. And it was good for them, kind of a community thing where they were able to walk through the car show as well and shake people's hands and people thank them for their work. And that was positive for them as well.
Cops are cool. I mean, they love the cars. The people are respectful. I've been pulled over in, I don't want to say many. I mean, I don't want to fabricate my past, but factually, I didn't get pulled over a million times, but I've been pulled over in some pretty heavy cars. And I think half the time it was because you couldn't see my dealer license plate or, whatever. Yeah. Not because I was going crazy, but I was certainly driving aggressively because I don't mean like putting other people in danger, but I'm accelerating hard. I'm listening to the exhaust. I'm staying too long in second gear, whatever. Maybe going 10 over on the Bayside Bridge.
At the most.
Not residential.
Yeah.
Residential was 20 over school zone. Sometimes I say, look, man, I mean, I'm showing this car to this fella next to me. I mean, I'm not trying to be reckless. And I got a couple of cops to take rides. Not like as a bribe. I mean, but they knew that I wasn't stealing it and knew that I wasn't, being a total jerk. I says, this is the new F1 transmission in the 360. You want to try it out? And they're like, all right, see you in a minute. And I'd get out. They'd have my customer in the passenger side still.
Even better.
So pretty funny.
That's one to have a video of. Of course, identity of the officer.
Yeah. In those days, on my StarTAC phone.
Not too many videos.
Not often, no. And I think, my heaviest phone I had in stores was a BlackBerry Pearl. It may have had video.
You still have that, don't you?
I have a little Smithsonian museum of my past cell phones. My first in 91. I met my first wife in 91. So I remember the big deal. The story was she told her mother, and he has a cell phone. Motorola 650.
Oh, the brick.
I mean, I could be out on my dock and I could tap loose nails in, with the thing. But I think back then it was 50 cents a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Or something to use the thing.
Yeah. Analog.
So any interesting stories from Cars and Coffee?
Well, of course, that car getting stuffed into the corner there or into that tub.
That's not uninteresting.
That's not uninteresting.
Any scuffles between the displayers?
It was always surprising that you had so many people with different, from this exotic guys, the Ferrari guys with their, red suede loafers to the, not to stereotype because they're not all that, to the muscle car guy who he put that engine in that car, and he did all of that body work and paint and beautiful stuff and everything. And he's doing everything with his own, with those two hands, to the kid with the $1,500 Civic. And they're all talking like they're best friends. And, to me, that was a great illustration of common interests, not getting in the way of other things and differences. So the differences don't matter at that point. What matters is the common interest. And that was pretty cool to observe, and the enthusiasm. At one of the Cars and Coffees, we did a Gold Rush rally, and that one had we had room for about 270 cars on the DuPont parking lot, DuPont Publishing parking lot, and about another 150 to 175 cars on the adjacent parking lot, and another 100 to 125 cars down the street on both sides of the street. Pinellas County Sheriff came out. We had 3 volunteers, or 3 of the off-duty Pinellas County Sheriffs for the Gold Rush Cars and Coffee, and they shut down the Tech Drive street because they said we have over 1,000 cars that they've counted down the street.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.